G'day everyone and welcome back to another BTLO Replay. This week we're bringing you the 5 labs, I believe, that we had from the winter seasonal event. Today I'm going to be taking you through DERAILED, but before we jump into that, make sure you follow us on X, LinkedIn, or join the Discord server to keep in touch with the awesome community that we have there. They definitely helped me on this one because I QA'd this lab, but it definitely changed before it came out. And I'll talk about that when we get to it. All the links for everything will be in the description box below, but for now, let's jump into DERAILED. And what we're going to do first is take a quick look at the scenario. Oh, there's a lot of scenario here. Okay, let's do a quick read. You guys can read this. I'm just going to do a quick read to make sure there's nothing that I need, or I don't think I need. So we've got a date, 15th of December. We've got Mysterious Saboteurs, Glacier. Kind of like looking at all these words with quotation marks around it. Okay. We'll come back to this if we get stuck on any of the questions. This is an easy box. It's a threat intel one, I believe. I think. Okay, list threat intel on here. But it isn't easy. I know that. Let's jump to the investigation page quickly. Here we go. Yes, Fire Labs, threat intel, easy. Okay. All right. We've confirmed that the root user isn't compromised. What other accounts have been attempted to which could be the attacker? Please list them in alphabetical order. Ignore the space user. Let me go to full screen for everyone. We have Notepad++, which is nice. I always like this better to look through logs. So task 1, looks like these are broken down into tasks. I don't see any task lists here. So when I went through this, I can't remember whether there was tasks. It was a while ago. Let's just open this in Notepad. Oh, come on. These machines are still a bit slow. Task. Going to analyze our auth logs for brute force attacks. I won't give you access due to the POLP. I'm actually not sure what that acronym is, but I mean, we could something to do with policy. I'll provide the logs for you below. Again, let me know if you have any questions. Airy file. I'm here for you, even though I am busy. Haha. In these labs, we always have kind of like arsehole bosses that just never have time to help us, which is not my experience in the real world. Generally, like my bosses have always been pretty good to reach out to and ask questions and get help when you really get stuck. So it looks like I'm looking at essentially SSH logs. We know, okay, so the public key for the Bitnami user is being accepted. We actually need this RSA SHA-256 one, so we could probably answer question 2 first. So what I want to see is if any other user has had a key accepted for it. So if we go find in all open documents, then we can search through here. So no, Bitnami is the only one that it has been accepted for. So by the logic of there's no other users that are getting in, the Bitnami uses the compromised account. So we can rule that out. Compromised users. So we have invalid users. So we can look for this. We're looking for 7 different users. So we're going to use the same method, find all in all open documents, and then we're just going to start entering these admin, UVNT, whatever this user is. Let's just copy that. port. So there was an EC2 user, EC2 I think user. Yeah, pi. That'd be here. Is that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? I need one more. Didn't say a different user. There is admin. It would be case sensitive if you were running a Linux box, because your users will be case sensitive. Okay. It actually doesn't matter which order we enter capital admin, lowercase admin in, because the platform essentially puts everything to lowercase and then accepts the answers. What AWS service should the security team enable that leverages machine learning? This seems like a Google question. Leverages machine learning. I'm just going to copy this. And let's go. It's a guard duty. Let's do that. Guard duty. Look at the 203.138 address, error string and number. So probably a two-part search. So we're going to go 203.138.147.67. Find all in open. So maximum authentication attempts exceeded. So then this will be because it wants the first 4 words, which is this, which is the error string. And then we simply do another search and find all in open documents. So the first user was this IP, which is the assuming Ubuntu user just shortened. And then we've got admin and root are the 2 others. So it should be 2. Yeah. Before we talk about the possible remediation for the specific attack, where is this IP from? I have a feeling it's not from here. So it wants this IP. And then it wants country, state, city. Let's head over to my favorite IP lookup websites. Show you can use plenty of others. If you do this lab later on, this IP may shift. Maybe. Fixed line. Okay. So Japan, and then Hokkaido, Sapporo. Let's give that a try. Japan. Hokkaido? Is that how I spell it? H-O-K-K. Nope. There we go. Knowing the location from the answer above, I can safely confirm we have no employees in that region or other regions from the logs. What security measures restrict IP availability? This will be either like geofencing or geo-blocking, but we want the AWS term because they've already referenced that. Geo-blocking. Yeah, and then I am assuming it wants one word because of the format. Yeah. Looking at snow track train travel site, can you find a potential XSRF attack? Hint, it's located in the navigation bar. Okay. So probably not in task 1. Let's have a look at task 2. Okay, there's no task document in here. Let's check out the website. Okay, so these links just reference themselves. So there's meant to be a picture there, and the back button doesn't work. So I hit Control U then while I was on the page, and I'm going to look at the source code for the website, and we can see that the navigation bar is here. So I was doing that because we weren't really getting anywhere, and it just linked back to itself. But this looks like that broken image, and it's got a HTTPS address in it. So this looks like the XSRF attack that it's talking about. So let's take this, get the Y, copy that. What common weakness enumeration ID? So a CWE ID for this attack. We could just go CWE ID XSRF CWE 352. I don't know why I typed 562 then. 352. There we go. It seems that book ticket section is a potential attack vector. It does not validate or incorrectly validate the user's input. What vulnerability can threat actors exploit in this scenario? So off the top of my head, this is probably input validation. I mean, the question is telling us what it's doing. So, and book ticket section. So if we look back at the website, sorry, I'll go full screen again. Yeah, so it's essentially like text boxes that's not drop down. So it's going to be input validation based on the format and what it's looking for. So we could go, what we could search for here is vulnerability for text boxes that don't check user input. Yeah, input validation from OWASP. So it's one of their top, I think, like web design vulnerabilities is user input validation. An SSL certificate error occurs when a web page can't verify an SSL certificate installed on a website. This explains the error message on the site. When did the certificate expire? So we did see that. If we go back to, I think, the top level folder, we had the website certificate and it had expired. So let's grab that, enter this in. All right, had a question mark, but accepted. That's all good. It seems like returning user logging in form is insecure. Sending confidential parameters over a URL is not recommended. What should the correct protocol and method be used in this case? So again, let's look at the source code. And we want to look for returning. So it's HTTP. It should be HTTPS for more like encrypted tunnel. Uses a method get. The only other method that's common to use here would be post. I mean, I don't think post is more, use post more secure than get. Okay, so secure around logging. All right, so if you're passing, if you're passing your username and password, then it's going to expose it within the logs because you've got to get, whereas post, it won't store it in the logs. So here we're going HTTPS and post. There we go. There seems to be malicious code passing files illegally to an unknown server. Not sure how this got past the web team. What is the full URL of this server? So there's nothing really else. There's some weird MyScript stuff which is part of the questions. But then references is script.js. So let's drop into that. That should be here somewhere. Task 2. It'd be in the train page, hopefully. Yeah, it's this one. So stealing data, it's probably not a good one, right? There is another URL linked to the threat actors. What is the MITRE ID sub-technique? Describes its function and what is the URL? So this one, so logs keystroke is the other URL that's in here. That looks dodgy. So let's grab that. And then what we need to look up is keystrokes keylogger, or MITRE keylogger should be enough. T1056.001. And this needs to go on the front. So T1056.001. Find my script 1. What type of cross-site scripting attack does this resemble? All right, so I remember looking at these, and this, you can kind of go about this question two ways. Those who aren't familiar with cross-site scripting, when you generally look up cross-site scripting, there's kind of only 3 things, and some of the formats here give it away. But so you can kind of just guess and enter the answer in. But what I want to do is kind of show where I went to get the answer for this. So the first thing that I did was I had this blog, which I read, which was good. And I think this got me 2 of the answers. So this first one is persistent stored cross-site scripting. And it's where you have code hosted on the web page, and then the victims kind of will access the page and it just triggers and essentially will steal their data. So we're looking for something like that. So if we look here, we know that one of the questions was talking about stealing data, and that's this one, my script 2. So when users are coming to this page, this PHP script is actually firing off and stealing their data. So my script 2 will be stored. And then the next one that I got was reflected. So this is where you can essentially like enter malicious code within the URL, and it'll print it to the screen. And you can get users to click on this, and this will expose some of their information or may do something. So if we're looking through here, that one was, I think this one, document your search query string decode URI component. Yeah, because it's reflecting a message, your search query. I think this one stumped me for a bit as well. And then I had to go look up. So the last one in the format gives it away, question 16. And I'm probably not explaining this very well, but I went and watched this YouTube video, which kind of like gave a nice simple explanation and showed code and then why you would want to do it. So they're trying to get CS, they're trying to get some kind of, they're trying to get a token, which you could then access the website as someone else if you had their token. So this was a good one. DOM-X cross-site scripting for beginners. And then I finally had to go and read this blog, which showed examples similar to ours, because a lot of the basic examples, if we look here, is it does a document write. So if we look at, this DOM-based cross-site scripting, it did a document write example, where when you enter, so essentially like roles would be the variable which exists, which you would normally have. And if you could figure out that this was the, this +5 means that it's going to have the start position for whatever it's going to execute. So it's executing at runtime when you send the URL. It's going to do it 5 positions after whatever kind of this is. So it's saying, look for this a parameter equal role and then move 5 positions. So if this was like roles equals, then you would have to have a +6 here. I hope that kind of explains it. So it's going to execute whatever's after the equal sign, essentially. And then it'll go and do something and go find the user, or you could put in other malicious code and it's going to run at user time. And this is an example. So parameter is denoted by a question mark, or there's also an example where it can be done with a hash symbol. And then 5 positions. So ROLE is 4, equals is 5, and then it's going to run whatever's within the script, and it's going to run JavaScript. So that's DOM-based as a basic example, and then this is just another basic example, whereas it uses the get document ID, I think was the variable. So if we look here, get element by ID, sorry, is what it's doing to get the DOM-based. So this one is the DOM-based, and then script 1 is reflected. So as a basic example of reflected, this was back up here. So it'll essentially just, the page is going to render an example. So I guess I could have looked up more of these with the get element by ID for reflected, and it probably would have looked similar to this one to show that. But again, this was like a lot more work to understand what these different attacks were than you needed to answer the questions, because there's kind of only the 3 basic ones. And then the formats kind of gave it away. But again, a pen tester can probably explain this much better than I can. What is a dead giveaway is that there's this script with a dodgy script that we already know is dodgy, and then a bunch of other stuff on the website that would kind of trigger you to have a look at it and figure out what it does. Observe network logs, and what time did the TCP traffic for Black Connect start? So I'm assuming this is task 3. There's only 2 more questions to go. Task 3, let's have a look at this. On December 10th, there was a particular passenger ticket that caused complications for train WND 123. The ticket inspector then couldn't resolve the issue as the ticket appeared to be a valid economy class ticket, despite doubts that passengers would land on board due to time constraints. A few days later, the train abruptly stopped. I checked the passenger's name. It appears to be Uri Tilf, which I think is one of Malik's other lab names. Cursed Tomb, not Cursed Tomb, but the Cursed Halloween event. Uri was one of the labs. I'm not familiar with this name. Could you investigate this ticket further? I have seemed to find a compressed file within it, but I don't have time to investigate it. I'll also send you our train network logs. Thanks. All right, so task 3, we've got the network logs. So Black Connect start, this was the first one that we needed. Copy that. All right, so I saw the next question is, what name does VirusTotal indicate that the installer is? I saw that there was some confusion on the Discord, and this tripped me up as well, because when I QA'd it in the task 3 folder, there was actually an installer here, which isn't anymore. And you could just, if we look at our tools that we have, you could just load it into PE Studio, and I'm going to open this because we're going to use it anyway. You load it up into PE Studio and get the hash, take it to VirusTotal, have a look. You could hash it with util or PowerShell as well. That's fine. But the installer wasn't there. So I tried looking on the Windows Defender, the virus and protection, to see whether they're being quarantined. What I think's happened is we've either uploaded the wrong template for this before the installer was there, or more likely is Defender has caught it, and then when we've migrated the template into prod, it doesn't reserve that history. And so you don't have the installer anymore. So this made the question, in theory, much trickier. I'm still not certain whether the actual compressed file is within this PDF ticket. It may be, because it's kind of like coming up with suspicious, saying it's like too large or it's like suspiciously large. But I couldn't find any strings, and I couldn't find any kind of indicators or footprints that kind of led me to it. You've also got Visual Studio on here, which I don't know why. Maybe it was... I don't think it's definitely not a pre-requirement for PE Studio. But anyway, so yeah, suspicious size. Okay. Can I click? I can't click. No, not really. So it gives me the strings. I have footprints count. This hash is just a hash of the PDF, so that's not in VirusTotal. Doesn't really help. So then I thought, like, we don't have any PDF parser tools in here. So I did like a whole bunch of searching. So what I ended up doing was, let me show you what I tried to do and failed at. But if we open up CyberChef, and then we want the ticket. So this is a standard PDF output, completely fine. What it would be embedded in is called a stream within PDF. So we can see that there is 8 separate streams. And I'm just going to show you this example, and I'll show a short one. And they're all the same. So if you look here, the filter for the stream is just a flat decode. Let me go to a shorter one. So this one. Nice and short stream. So what I did was I just copied it. I copied all of them and did this to all of them to see if I could figure it out. And if anyone does know how to do this, I did try and Google whether CyberChef does flat decode, and I saw that there was a request to have it added to CyberChef, and I saw it resolved, but then I couldn't. Maybe we're not using the right updated version for that. I didn't check the version actually. But I think it's a raw deflate is essentially what we're looking for. It all came out to nothing. The other thing that I did try was one of the decompressors. Was it raw? No, it wasn't. It wasn't the inflate. Oh, so there's different versions of this. Yeah. And then, was it just inflate? It wasn't inflate. I tried zlib inflate. Didn't work. There was one other I tried, but it also, none of the 8 turned out to be anything. So we're kind of stuck here. Like I wasn't sure whether it was in here. I don't know whether with the tools that we have, we can actually get it out if it is in there. Short name. And then it kind of dawned on me that these 2 questions are probably linked. So if we look at the network logs, we have some URLs in here. And we know that the traffic starts here and then it starts working. So at least this URL has something to do with it. So we can copy that. And then let's see if we can go to VirusTotal now. And we're going to search for this URL. So we get something malicious, which is good. Looks old because there's not, like, Microsoft's not hitting on it anymore. And then we're just scrolling down. We don't need the certificate. then if we come down here, so we notice that we get kind of like some of these other URLs that we had in here. So the bro Jazuza and the man Jux Plopman. So it's kind of like there's the 3 in this, and it's iced ID. So I know from experience that what iced ID is, and that it's kind of what this question is probably asking for. And we could do a search for iced ID. So it's a banking Trojan. We know that the website was stealing users' data, and it has something to do around with financials because people are booking tickets. So it could be, in the sense of the scenario, utilized to do the same thing. Iced ID, like iced, also kind of fits the theme of the lab, is where we're going. But if we enter iced ID here, we see that it's right. But again, this wasn't the intended way to get it. It is easy. It's just not as clear because it's asking for the installer. But what we're actually looking for here is the URLs. So I checked on the page for the lab. So congrats to like the 106 solves that got this. Well done for figuring that out, because that was definitely made this harder. And if you managed to notice all of the XSS attacks, also congrats, because that was definitely, when I was trying to like look them up and understand each of the attacks, it was definitely harder than just kind of guessing the 3 and trying to slot in based on the formats. But well done if you got both of those. So that's it for this week. Well, I say that, but I'm doing another lab, and we've also got 3 others coming out from our other content engineers to help you get through some of this retired wintered content. But thanks everyone for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe to never miss a video. And in the meantime, remember to join us on Discord and tune in every Friday at 6 p.m. UTC for BTLO Replay. We're going to be going with that time, always moving forward. We're not changing for daylight savings anymore. So it will shift depending where you live, unless you're in an awesome place like me that doesn't have daylight savings. But thanks everyone, and I'll see you all next time.